You hired an administrative assistant and somehow ended up with more work, not less. More. Here's what's actually happening. Your new hire is sitting there waiting. You're still doing everything yourself. Plus, you're answering their questions. Plus, you're hand-holding through tasks you thought you'd handed off. They get frustrated, you get frustrated, and right around month 3, they quit. You're out $25,000 to $50,000. You're out months of your time and you're starting over. In the next 12 minutes, here's exactly what we're covering. Why most onboarding fails before day 1 even starts, the 5-part system that fixes it, and how to build one that actually runs without you. Let's go. I'm Kevin. I work with Sulum. About to hire someone? Check the description before you do. There's a free tool for this. Here's the number that should make you stop. Poor onboarding costs U.S. businesses around $1 trillion a year in turnover. $1 trillion. Not because people are bad hires, because companies assume new hires absorb information by breathing it in. They sit in a meeting, you tell them how something works, you assume they've got it. 70% of people forget what they're told within 24 hours if it's not written down. So they forget, they do it wrong, they feel lost. About 1 in 3 new hires walk out within 90 days. About 20% are gone in the first 45 days, and 60% of companies never set clear goals for a new hire in the first place. That's not a people problem, that's a systems problem. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The person who solves this problem has a specific name, a VSA, a virtual systems architect. Not a virtual assistant, not a task taker. A VSA documents the process, builds the system, and runs it. The difference matters a lot. Here's the thing about the best administrative hire you can make. It onboards itself. You talk through your process for 5 minutes on a screen recording, the VSA watches that recording and writes the standard operating procedure from it, screenshots included, every step, then runs it. You didn't build a manual, you had a conversation. The VSA built the manual. Now you have a system. That's the model we're working toward. Let's build it piece by piece. Component 1, pre-boarding. What happens before day 1? Most owners do nothing before the first day. The new hire shows up, there's no login, the email isn't set up, the tools aren't ready. The first day is 4 hours of waiting and 1 hour of actual work. That is a disaster. Not because the hire is bad, because no one prepared. Pre-boarding means everything is ready before they walk in. Accounts are created. Logins are provisioned. Tools are set up. Paperwork is completed ahead of time, not on day 1. Equipment is ready. The hire doesn't sit idle waiting for access. They start working. You can build this yourself. Make a pre-boarding checklist, 12 to 15 items. Tool access, login credentials, a welcome email with context, the paperwork sent 2 days early. Set a reminder to run through it 3 days before every start date. Build it in a spreadsheet or a basic project tool. Takes about 2 hours to build the first time, then maybe 30 minutes per hire after that. The honest friction point? You have to remember to run it. If you forget or you're busy, day 1 goes sideways. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA owns pre-boarding. They build the checklist once, run it for every new hire, and update it when something changes. You don't remember to run it, they just do. Component 2, role clarity and a 90-day scorecard. Unclear expectations are the #1 reason new hires fail. Not skills, not attitude. Unclear expectations. The hire doesn't know what winning looks like, so they guess. They get it wrong, you're frustrated, they're frustrated. Nobody said it out loud. A 90-day scorecard fixes this. It's 1 page, 3 to 5 measurable outcomes at each checkpoint. By day 30, they run 3 processes solo. By day 60, 5 core tasks are handled without supervision. By day 90, they're fully independent with a stretch goal on the table, written down, agreed on before day 1. You can write this yourself, it's not complicated. Pick the 3 most important things they need to own in 90 days. Work backwards. What does solo look like at 30 days? Write it in plain language. Takes about 90 minutes the first time, then it's a template you adjust per role. Weekly maintenance is basically nothing if you set clear check-in dates. The friction point? Most owners hate putting specific numbers on expectations. It feels rigid,
But vague is worse. Vague is what causes the 3-month quit. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA helps build this from the first conversation. They ask what you actually need. Then they write the scorecard from your answer. You review it, done. Component 3, a documented process library ready on day 1. Here's the trap most owners fall into. They plan to train the new hire by sitting with them, showing them how things work, walking them through each task one time. This is called training from your own head. It's the most expensive kind of training there is. Your time costs real money. 8 to 12 hours of manual onboarding per hire on average, and the hire still forgets 70% of what you said within a day because you didn't write it down. The documented process library is the collection of standard operating procedures the hire follows, step by step, with short screen recordings.
With templates, built before they start, not assembled on the fly. A documented library cuts the time you spend managing a new hire by 40 to 60%. That's not a guess, that's the number. You can build this yourself. Pick your top 5 recurring tasks. Record yourself doing each one. Use a screen recording tool to capture the steps. Write the procedure out as you go. Upload it somewhere central, a shared folder, a basic internal wiki, even a well-organized document. This takes about 4 to 6 hours to build a starter library. Maintenance is maybe an hour a month when processes change. Honest friction point. You will procrastinate on this because it feels like a lot of work before the hire starts. Then the hire starts and there's no time to build it, then you end up training from your head again. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA model is almost unfair. You record a 5-minute video of how you do something. The VSA watches it, writes the standard operating procedure from scratch, and then runs that procedure. Every step, every screenshot, every edge case. You didn't build documentation. The VSA built it while doing the job. If you're hiring right now, that onboarding costs you 3 to 6 months of real productivity per person. There's a free tool in the description. You answer a few questions about the role and your industry. It builds you a custom onboarding checklist in 60 seconds. No login. Check the description. Component 4. A 30-60-90 ramp plan with weekly check-ins. Without a ramp plan, a new hire takes 4 to 8 months to get fully productive. With a structured plan, it's about 3 months. That gap is not talent, that's structure, or the absence of it. The ramp plan works in 3 phases. Days 1 through 30, orient and observe. They're learning how you operate, not running things solo. Days 31 through 60, guided execution. They're doing real work with weekly feedback. Days 61 through 90, independent operation plus a stretch goal. Each phase has a clear outcome. They know what phase they're in. Weekly check-ins are 15 minutes, not an all-day hand-holding session. 15 minutes. What's going well? What's stuck? What do they need? You answer, they go execute. You can run this yourself. The ramp plan is just the scorecard broken into phases with clear weekly touch points. Set a recurring 15-minute meeting. Use it. The tool you need is a calendar and discipline. Build time is basically 0 if you've already built the scorecard. Maintenance is the 15 minutes a week you're already blocking. Friction point. The check-ins are the first thing to get dropped when you're busy. When check-ins stop, misalignment builds. The hire starts guessing again. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA model doesn't need hand-holding check-ins the same way. They come to the check-in prepared. They report what they ran, what they improved, what they're building next. The dynamic is different. Sulum builds weekly check-ins and a dedicated account manager into the VSA model from the start. By about week 4, they're producing independently. Component 5, a feedback and accountability loop. 82%. That's the retention increase tied to structured onboarding with a real feedback system. 82% higher retention. Most companies don't have this. They do a 90-day review, maybe. They find out someone was confused at month 3, when it's too late. The feedback loop is simple. Short pulse checks at days 3, 30, 60, and 90. 3 questions. Do you have what you need? Are expectations clear? What's getting in the way? You answer what you can, you fix what you can, you update the process library when something's missing. Once a month, do a debrief on the system itself, not just on the hire, on the process. What broke? What worked? What needs updating?
This is how the system gets better every time you bring someone new on. You can run this yourself. Build a short form, 3 to 5 questions, send it at each checkpoint. Takes 10 minutes to create, 15 minutes per check-in to review. Monthly debrief is 30 minutes. That's about 2 hours a quarter. Friction point. You need to act on what they tell you. A pulse check that goes nowhere is worse than no pulse check. It signals you don't care. That is doable. The question is whether you want to be the one running it every week. A VSA runs this loop on the system they're building. They flag gaps. They update the standard operating procedures. They surface problems before they become quit reasons. The feedback loop becomes part of how the role operates, not an add-on you remember sometimes. Here's what structured onboarding actually produces: 82% higher retention, 50% higher productivity in the ramp period, 3 months to full independence instead of 4 to 8. Those numbers come from having a system, not from hiring better people, from running a better process. The VSA model takes this further. Sulum places them across 40-plus industries: operations, client management, content, admin, scheduling, reporting. The same approach works because they build the system from your process. It's not generic. It's built from what you actually do. One pattern we see often: an owner brings one on during a transition period, a pivot, a growth phase. That person documents how things work, runs the processes, and keeps the operations stable while the owner focuses on strategy. The system they build outlasts the transition, and they run at roughly half the cost of a full-time in-house hire. They arrive with a documented onboarding system already built for how they work. Retention here runs 97%. Client retention, 98%. The whole thing works because it's documented from day one. Here's something nobody talks about when they're excited about a new hire. Bad onboarding is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. We're talking 3 to 6 months of lost productivity per person. You hired them, they're still confused, you're still doing it yourself. The free tool in the description kills that problem. Tell it the role, tell it the industry. 60 seconds later, you've got a custom checklist built for that exact hire. No login, no email required. If you've got a hire coming up, grab this now. The link's in the description. And if this was useful, hit subscribe. We put out one of these every week. Go build the system. The hire works when the system works. That's the whole game.